Going on, everybody? Welcome to Sports with Trek and Chubby, man. We are about to get into the ACC Breakdown Quarterback Edition. But before we do that, can you go ahead and hit that like button for me one time? Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new here. And if you haven't already, hit the notification bell for all updates and all these videos so you can get them when they coming out. Get notified on it. Also, go ahead and share the channel one time for me, for your friends and family. I appreciate it, y'all. Now let's get up into this. All right. So, as we know, there's good quarterback play going on all over in college football this upcoming season for 2024-2025. Now, some quarterbacks have performed well last year, and some quarterbacks have not had their best seasons. There are some quarterbacks who's moving around and getting in a place where they may be comfortable, and I believe that may work. Well, let's see. We only could wait and see. But everybody is doing decent on paper. Have you seen what the transfer portal is looking like? Everybody's at like that 85 to like 90 mark when they're getting their average player in, which means that teams are really even. So what it really comes down to is great coaching. It's great coaching. That's what this is going to come down to, and it's about time that it's evened up. And now it's always been about coaching, but now really nobody can say they're undermanned. Nobody can say they're undermatched. Well, let's just get up into the ACC Quarterback Edition here, breakdown, okay? So yes, I always got my homework. I study. You hear me? I study, and I study hard, and I write down my things. I don't got no. I write it down. Trek and Chubby does, baby. You hear me? Let's go. So first off, I want to go ahead and I want to give a prop to the Miami Hurricanes and your fans out there. So I'm going to start with the Miami Hurricanes quarterback, none other than Cam Ward, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, as we all know, he completed 323 of his 485 passes, which ended with a completion percentage of 67. He threw for 3,735 yards, 25 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, has 145 passer rating, and a 65 quarterback rating. He stands 6'2", 223 pounds. I probably should have said that first, huh? But it's all good. So, Pro Football Focus ranked him as offensive grade at 80.7, his passing at 78.1, and his run grade at 69.7. Okay, so he is mobile, all right? And he can get the job done. And a lot of his stats that really don't look well is because of the sacks that he took. He was the second most sacked quarterback in the Pac-12 with 38 sacks. That's what he took. So that counts against him, okay? It does, and it counts against a lot of these quarterbacks. You know, I just don't want to give excuses to Cam Ward, but it counts for a lot of these quarterbacks that I'm going to talk about today. All right, and I just wanted to give y'all a heads up with that because I believe Cam Ward, honestly, I'm going to talk about all the quarterbacks in the ACC, but I believe Cam Ward is right now, he is one of my top 5 in the ACC right now. Okay, no particular order right at the moment. I'll get into a later video for y'all for that. Okay, but he's definitely one of my top 5. Next up, we got Cade Klubnik. Okay, from Clemson. He's headed into his junior season. Cade Klubnik stands at 6'2", 205 pounds. He completed 290 of his 454 passes, which ended with a 64 completion percentage. He passed for a total of 2,844 yards, 19 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, ended with a passer rating of 126 and a quarterback rating of 55. Okay, this is Cade Klubnik. His offensive grade from PFF was 64.3. His passing was ranked at 63.7, and his run grade was 60.4. Okay, we seen what Clemson did last season. They got a lot of promising going on. He has a couple more years of eligibility, and so therefore I believe Clemson will get more talent at wide receiver. That is a likely destination when you have a quarterback who is young and can get the job done. And look, he had 9 interceptions. So, of course, your percentage drop, the rankings drop, and everything else, right? Pro Football Focus rarely gets it wrong, but when you're in the 60s, you got to look at that like more like a C, okay? 70s, high Bs, You can say whatever you want to say. It's a D. You can give it a D grade if that's what you want. But to me, from watching him on field and the eye test of things and that statistically, I didn't think he did that bad. I mean, everybody has things to work on. You always can improve. I mean, there's just some quarterbacks who are in the 90 percentile when it goes a pro Football Focus, and you say, okay, they can brush up. They still can brush up on some things for the next level. He still has 2 years, this year, next year, to improve. So he has a lot of room to improve, and that is an upside for you Clemson Tiger fans. All right. Now, I'm excited to talk about this next quarterback because he also has a couple more years to improve. Preston Stone, coming over from SMU, one of the new additions to the ACC. Preston Stone is 6'1", 219 pounds. He completed 206 of his 344 passes, ended with a completion percentage of 60%. He threw for 3,197 yards, 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, has a passer rating of 161, and a 72 Q quarterback rating. That is amazing, y'all. Look. Now, PFF gave him an offensive grade of 91.3. They gave him a pass rating at a 91. They gave his run at a 64.3. Okay, listen. Now, some people are going to say, oh, he came from the American Athletic Conference. So, that's where they coming over from, and it's going to be different ball. You can make that argument, and the reason being is because you've seen a 6-6 Virginia Tech beat the snot out of Tulane. So that's a fair argument. You know what I mean? It really is. They did. They got at them in a bowl game, and even though it was raining and they may have took away some of their passing because the weather was bad out there, Tulane just couldn't stop the run at all. I mean, at all. And the surprising thing about that was that Tulane was the top run defense in the American Athletic Conference. So you're sitting there and you're watching that game and like, this cannot be, because you knew that Virginia Tech was going to try to run the ball, but you thought that Tulane had one of the the top run defense in the American Athletic Conference. You're like, this ain't happening, but it did. So you can make that argument, but however, that does not mean Preston Stone does not know how to read a defense, know how to go through his progressions, and know how to make the throws. He does know how to do that. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what he's going to do in the ACC. And I think that SMU was a good addition too. So, we'll see what's going on with that. Next up, Ashton Daniels. Yeah. You wondering why? You probably sitting there like, why you give a round of applause to Ashton Daniels? Why Ashton Daniels? Well, because look, man, Ashton Daniels, he balled out, man. Regardless of what anybody wants to say, he balled out there in the Pac-12. To me, statistics don't tell the story all the time. When you're watching the football game, you would honestly be surprised of what you see out of football players, man. To me, honestly, you'll be surprised. The statistics is one thing, right? But when you watch film and you're watching them and go through the progressions and you're watching them ball, you're like, sometimes it don't add up. Sometimes the math don't math. You know what I mean? From the eye test and statistics. Let's just be honest about that, okay? Can we all agree with that? Can we agree with that? Because it is like that sometimes, okay? But no further ado, let me go ahead and let me jump up into Ashton Daniels. As y'all know, he stands at 6'2", 215 pounds. The man, look, okay? He put in some work. He completed 191 of his 325 passes had a completion percentage of 58. He threw for 2,247 yards, had 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, ended with a passer rating of 125 and a quarterback rating of 53. Okay, he's going into his junior season also. Let me make that clear. So he got a couple more years of eligibility. Okay, PFF gave him an office grade of 65.9, a passing grade of 60.6, and a run grade of 71.8. Why is that? Well, he was another one of them sack quarterbacks, and he was getting up out of there. He was running around a lot in the Pac-12, and therefore he can scoot. He got wheels underneath him, and he can pass, and he's young, and he's still got time to grow. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, you know, these teams with these quarterbacks is destinations for these receivers. Receivers come a lot. There is a lot of receiver talent. I mean, and it is probably one of the most developmental positions in college football. Like, they develop so quickly. I mean, and it's great to see that. And there's so many of them. Like, you know, some guys, there's a guy born every single football season. There's at least 5 guys that we have never heard of that shows up and puts in work at wide receiver. Can we agree with that also? Okay, cool. Let's move on. So Cal had like 3 different starters. Okay, they had like Ben Finley, Sam Jackson V, and then they had Fernando Mendoza. Okay, and Cal is joining the ACC. I'm not sure if they're going to roll with Fernando Mendoza, but you know, he's 6'5", 220 pounds. He is only going into his sophomore season. He completed 153 of his 243 passes, had a 63% completion percentage. He threw for 1,708 yards, 14 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, had a passer rating of 133 and a quarterback rating of 60. And he wound up losing in a bowl game to Texas Tech, 34-14. Now, Cal did go and pick up Chandler Rogers from Northern Texas. So, and Chandler Rogers' PFF grade was very, very high and well. Okay, but before I get into Chandler Rogers, let me give you Fernando Mendoza's PFF grade. His offensive grade was a 66.4. His passing grade was a 66.9. His run grade was a 55.8. Chandler Rogers' PFF grade, offensive grade was 88.6. His passing was 88.4, and his run was a 62.1 from Northern Texas. So we really, you can say that Chandler Rogers could come in and grab and take the job at Cal going into the ACC. You can sit there and you can say that, right? And the reason I'm saying that is because it's another one of those young quarterbacks who has time to develop and there's no rush. He got the experience. He knows what it feels like to be on the field. However, I don't believe there's no rush. You know, see, a lot of these young guys come in with that mentality that they have to come in and play hero ball. They got to prove themselves right away. And which is true. You do got to prove yourself. But sometimes when you're trying to force throws that you used to be able to make in high school, you're not going to be able to make at this level. They're going to take your best attributes away from you at the next level. Believe that. They watched your high school film, without a doubt. They watched your high school film. They know what you can do. Is why it's harder and it's so much more of an accomplishment for a quarterback to come in at the college level and do very well. Defensive players, they're expected to do that because how could you neutralize a defensive player? There's ways to do that with offensive schemes and blocks and triple teams and double teams and so forth and so on, right? But it's easier to neutralize a quarterback because you know what he's best at, you know what his tendencies are, and you have to switch that up. Now he just got to go back to the drawing board. You know, there's no rush. You know, compete heavy, study hard, and see what he can do, man. You know what I mean? Because we don't know. Because Fernando Mendoza, he wound up getting a starting job at Cal, but they did bring in Chandler Rogers, and he is good. He's good. So, hey, look, we'll see what happens there at Cal. Stay tuned. We'll have more information with that, but you know, it is what it is right now. So there's another controversy going on at Boston College because we seen Thomas Castellanos. He's going into his junior season. We seen him absolutely ball out. I think the game I was most impressed with watching him in was the Florida State game. And it's because I seen him run. I seen him make plays. I seen him single-handedly on offense keep them alive in the Florida State game. And that's when a lot of people started going left on Florida State. I know I go on some kind of rant sometimes. Hey, but this is sports with Track and Chubby, right? It's a sports show, all right? Now, but they're forgetting the fact that Boston College was just not no pushover. The ACC is just no pushover in general. And he balled out. Now, undersized, he is. Yes, stands at 5'10", Thomas Castellanos does. 196 pounds. He completed 189 of his 330 passes, had a 57 completion percentage. He threw for 2,248 yards, had 15 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, had a passer rating of 121 and a quarterback rating of 65. PFF graded him at offensive grade 73, a passer at 57.8, and his run at 82.7. I'm telling you, he was scooting. He was scooting, so he has the escapability. And look, he's still got a couple more years to learn the position. He has the elite escapability that quote unquote undersized quarterbacks need to have. He has that. He does. Now all he has to do, and I seen him make plays. He just gotta stop trying to play hero ball. He was really out there trying to carry his team, and you've seen that, and that's where those 14 interceptions come from in my eyes. Him just trying to force plays instead of just, saying, okay, the down's over, we're building here. He was balling out. He was really trying to play for his team. He didn't care about his stats. You could care about you could see that when he played from the eye test that he is a team player, and he really did not care about his stats. He was wanting to win games. But however, you do got to worry about your stats in order for you to get to the next level. But I do like his chemistry with his team and the way that he played for his team. I do like that about him. Thomas Castellanos, all right, Boston College. Oh yeah, they got Grayson Jones. They did go and get Grayson Jones out of the portal. So that's where that controversy comes from. We don't know if they're going to go with him, but he does have competition. All right. Now, Pitt. Oh, Pitt. Dang. Man. Well, Christopher Looks, I cannot pronounce. I'm bad with last names. He's from Ontario. He's from Canada. He's 6'4", 220 pounds. He completed 94 of his 184 passes, had a 51 completion percentage. He threw for 1,179 yards, had 7 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, had a pass rating of 108, and had a quarterback rating of 40. Pro Football Focus gave him an offensive grade of 38.3, a passer rating of 43, and a run grade of 39.4. Listen, this is my good. That's horrible. However, Pitt did go in a transfer portal and go grab up a backup quarterback from Alabama, Eli Holstein. And they went and grabbed up a wide receiver from San Diego State. They got one of my favorite defensive players. He's a freshman coming in. He was ranked as a 3-star by 24/7. I think he's a 4-star. Stars don't matter to me. However, I just like his dog mentality. And Cameron Lindsay, that linebacker, he's young, he's going to grow. I hope he stays down at Pitt and stays there for the remainder of the 4 years. However, I would not blame him if he decided to get up and move away from home to grow. But he's definitely going to be a name that we're definitely going to hear on Sundays. Why am I talking about a linebacker and not quarterback? I mean, I just read you his stats. I mean, there's nothing really to talk about. You know what I mean? Even though he's going into his junior season, he has time to grow. But I mean, when you play that bad, something's off. Like he was seeing ghosts out there, scared to get hit the competition or whatever it may be. And that just doesn't work for us in Pittsburgh. It just don't work. There's some work to do there. However, I do think that they had a strong recruiting class, because a lot of their players don't get the stars they deserve because of the areas some of these players come from. And that goes, and I'll get into that another day for another topic, or maybe at the end of the show when I'm done with the quarterbacks. But let me keep it moving, y'all, because I'll get into it. All right, so we know that Duke went and got Malik Murphy from Texas, 6'5", 238 pounds. He didn't play a whole season. He did not play a full season. You know, he was a backup out there. So, but his stats that we do have on him, he completed 40 of his 71 passes for a 56 completion percentage, 477 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He had a passer rating of 118 and a quarterback rating of 46. Now, in the 2 games that we do got on him was the Kansas game when they played the Kansas Wildcats. He was 19 for 37, 248 yards. He had 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He had a 51 completion percentage in that game, and he had a passer rating of 105 in that game. Now, BYU also was another good game to me. It definitely was a good game because he was 16 for 25, 170 yards, 64 completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a pass rating of 139. So that's what we have to go off of Malik Murphy. He played in some other games, but he had 2 snaps those games. These are the games that you can go off of him and look at that film and see exactly what was going on. Now, the Kansas defense is tough. It's really, really tough. They was in a shootout with them, okay? And that game was well played. And they got the win. He struggled in that game. He really did. But to come in to one of those games with limited snaps, because mind you, he's playing with the backups. He practiced with backups, okay? So to come in the game like Kansas, Big 12, and you know they're the Big 12 bullies, Kansas is. Let's just be honest. Give it up for Kansas real quick, But he came in that game and he I think he did all right, He had 2 interceptions, but he's a freshman coming into a big game like that. That's huge. That is a huge game, believe that or not. That's not easy to come in and they still got the win, even though they probably should have lost that game, to be honest. You know what I mean? They probably should have. But it is what it is. All right, moving on. Kyle McCord going to Syracuse. Ohio State's old quarterback, stands at 6'3", 215 pounds. He completed 229 of his passes out of 348 of his passes. 66 completion percentage. He threw for 3,170 yards, 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, had a passer rating of 161, and had a quarterback rating of 84. All right. His stats wasn't that bad. Not really that bad. However, like I said, on the eye test, he was missing some throws up there at Ohio State. He was missing some throws. But the quarterback coach in Ohio State, Ryan Day, said, you got to go. It may be you that had made Kyle McCord looking bad. You got to go. We cannot deal with this. All right, and keep it moving. So, but PFF gave him an offensive grade of 76.4. They gave him a passer grade at 76. Gave him a run grade of 64.5. Ain't bad. He's a senior. He's going up there to Syracuse, trying to ball out. They're trying to rebuild up there at Syracuse. I'm excited to see what Kyle McCord going to do up there. Getting a quarterback of his caliber, honestly, up there at Syracuse, it's been a couple of years, and now I believe with the additions they have up there, they're moving in the right direction in Syracuse. I like what y'all doing up there, Syracuse. I like it. I like where y'all going, especially getting Coach Nick and all that. I like it, and I can't wait to see y'all perform. A lot of teams. I can't wait to see a lot of teams perform, but Syracuse, getting Kyle McCord, I think that's good for them and what they're trying to build up there. Hopefully, y'all get some good recruits at quarterback after he leaves. Okay. Now, this next quarterback, I seen him ball out in this bowl game, and I said, man, oh man, when they played Tulane. Karen Drones, 6'2", 231, stout, run. Hey, listen to me. Anyhow, he out of his 166 completions. Excuse me, I'm stuttering now because I'm just so excited, man. He completed 166 of his 285 passes, had a completion percentage of 58%. He had through for 2,084 yards, 17 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, had a passer rating of 137, had a quarterback rating of 69. PFF graded him as offensive grade at 76.3, passing at 65, and his run at an 80.9. Man, he balled out that game, and I mean he showed something, but he was doing it like, periodically through the season. But in that bowl game, step up in clutch time, one time against a defense where nobody gave Virginia Tech a chance. Like, I mean, because sometimes we get caught up in the statistics of the sport and we forget that these are not robots. These are not robots. These are people out there, and then any given Saturday, any given Sunday, Friday night, Thursday night, Tuesday night, they gonna turn something on that we have not seen and surprise the heck out of us. And that's exactly what he did. And look, to see what they're moving into at Virginia Tech, their program has fallen off these past couple years, and I think they're trying to move back up in prestige. But he's going into his junior season, and he has a couple more seasons left. So let's see if he can build on that. We know what he needs to work on is his passing, and that could be the lack of receivers he had there. We're not going to sit there and say that was all on him. Like I said, a lot of these quarterbacks took some sacks, and when you got to rebuild your offensive line, things like this happen. But let's see what they do. Another quarterback next up, Anthony Cordrea. I believe that's how you pronounce the name for Virginia. Out of his 246 passes, he completed 154 with a completion percentage of 63%. He threw for 1,958 yards, 13 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, had a passer rating of 140 and a quarterback rating of 70. All right. PFF graded him out for his offense grade at 71.3, his passing at 69.4, and his run at 66.6. That is a bad number. He's young, got some time to develop. Virginia maybe moving up there. The interceptions is the turnovers, and this is what you're seeing out of a lot of these young quarterbacks who want to win. It's the will to win in these guys. You know what I mean? And I think that you got to admire that. And I think that's why I admire college sports so much, because in the NFL, consistent, they're all primed, they're ready to play pro ball, and it's easy to get distracted. All that money, you're a millionaire, this and that. At college level, you're still trying to prove yourself, you're trying to get there, and it's just raw, authentic. Just, I want to go out there and play my heart out ball. I think that's what it is with college football, and why I'm falling so much in love with it. But honestly, I think, you see it on the field. You just see it, and I like that. This next quarterback, DJ Uiagalelei, going to Florida State. He has gotten a bad game. I've been guilty of it. I take it back. I called him DJ Ugly Gaming. We made fun of him, and I'm not, and I could take it back. I'm a man of my word. Have no problem with admitting that. Okay. However, I will honestly say that he has gotten better every single year. Every single year, DJ Uiagalelei has gotten better every single year, ladies and gentlemen. He has not digressed. Okay, he has not digressed. Like, he's improved. Standing at 6'4", 252 pounds. The man he's coming up. You hear me? He completed 180 of his 315 passes, 57% completion percentage. He threw for 2,638 yards, had 21 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, had a pass rating of 145, and a quarterback rating of 81. Okay, listen. PFF graded him at offensive grade at 82, passing at 75, and his run at an 80.9. Now, yeah, he missed on some throws. He knows he has things to work on, and that's what you got to admire of him, because he's draft. He could have went into the draft, but he said, you know what, I got this COVID year. I'm using it because I need to go back to the big stage. Florida State, huge expectations, huge, and let's see if he's ready to deal with that. I do believe that he's ready to deal with that. I honestly believe he's ready to deal with the big stage of Florida State. He has gotten better statistically every year, y'all. I mean, when you look at his PFF grade, when you look at, his stats from other seasons, he has gotten better. When you look at him on film, I think so, especially last year up at the Pac-12, and he's not shying away from competition, but you got to admire the fact that he knows he was not ready to go pro, and he didn't think twice about, not going pro, staying at the college level and wanting to work on more of his mechanics when it comes to passing. All right, he knows that, and look, there's not a lot of people who can humble themselves to do that, so you got to give it to him for that. All right, for real. All right, so Hayes King, the last one, Georgia Tech. Now, he completed 226 of his 367 passes, ended with a completion percentage of 62%. He threw for 2,842 yards, had 27 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, had a passer rating of 142, and a quarterback rating of 73. PFF, Pro Football Focus, offensive graded him at 80.3, his passing at a 71, and his run at a 81.5. That was only his sophomore season. Okay, he has 2 more years of eligibility. Now, I'm just saying there is some quarterbacks that I have named. And listen, Hayes King out Georgia Tech, he balled out last year. They got in some games. They started off hot. They started off going down. You know what I mean? The ACC is tough. Believe it or not, it's tough. If you're not going to come in there and give your all every week, you will drop some of these games. A lot to proving themselves with these teams, okay? Now, I'm asking everybody who's watching and tuning in, you tell me your top quarterbacks. I sat here and gave you all their stats. I gave you the Pro Football Focus grades. You get down in the comments. Tell me who you think is going to be the top 5 quarterbacks in the ACC. I'll be back to give you, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Have a wonderful weekend. Tune in tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for my live show. 5:30 p.m. if you're in Central Time. 4:30 p.m. if you're in Mountain Time. 3:30 p.m. if you're on the Pacific Coast. All right. Appreciate y'all, man. Have a good day. Peace out.